Hello and welcome to the Heat Signature Daily Challenge. It is the 21st of January, and today we're killing 3 Sovereign Officers while avoiding alarms as much as possible. We are frail and have a supplier that shouldn't matter too much today. We got a hammer for bashing, armor-piercing shotgun that's loud, not great for alarms, and a single subverter will be useful somewhere, probably. But yeah, can't do like fleeing targets with that, sadly. Well, let's go. Alright, we got heat sensors with emergency shields, 40 seconds jammer defender, mini center guns, jammer gates. Heat sensors with a defender? That's concerning. If we really need to, we can use a subverter to take out the defender. But hopefully that won't be required. Okay, that's a sketchy opener. Defender's pretty far from the target. And if the alarm starts to go off over here, we might be able to get to the pilot in time to disable it. Did I forget about glitching through doors yesterday with the slipstream? There may have been one area that I forgot about it. But I think I had enough teleporters and stuff that it didn't actually matter. It was just something that dawned on me. Alright. First, let's try dashing in and see how far we can get in without being noticed. It's unlikely, but we might... If we angle this just right. Nope. I think if you angled it just right, like when you bash into the wall, there is a moment where you get closer than you normally can, and then it shunts you out. I think if you stayed along the wall that whole time and went through here, you might be able to not be seen by the defender. Because they're just barely to the right of this line. But alas. Still maybe possible. What I'm thinking is get you to look up here. Make sure that doesn't smack me in the face. And then while you're staring at me, I can go down here and get the key. And then hopefully dash out of the way before you see me fully. Yeah, that looks reasonable. Then the last bit is just to get in through here and close the door behind me before they see me. And yeah, it worked out. I then have to get in here. Just worrying about alarms, double checking the conditions, because I don't want to fail things like I often do. Alright, that gets us to the key. And if we angle this right, it's fine to just dash in. Yay! I'm a little scared about it shooting me immediately after dashing here. Can I see when it's gonna reload? Not really. So we're just gonna hope. Okay, we're good. Pick up your gun. Give you a shot. Steal your key card. Realize that I want this crate, so we're gonna pick you up so you don't fly out the window and we get a slipstream. Ayo. Alright, yeah, I'll just run down here and then use this time to remote the pod. Feels like we've had a good amount of slipstreams lately. Doop, 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 doop. Alright, I'm very happy. It was a good strategy to get past the defender stuff without using up the subverter, which could be required later. And we got a slipstream. Alright, guns with heat sensors. Oh, I had a thought about door phasing. So one aspect that's come up in previous bugs is that like the speed that you go and things go in a frame is based on your frame rate, right? So if you're going the same speed at 30 frames per second, you'll be moving twice as fast per frame as you will be if you're at 60 seconds. Because you got to move the same amount of distance in the same amount of time, but there's half as many frames. And that has been used in the past for previous bugs. There used to be one where if you were pathfinding and walking, and then you used a melee weapon across someone across the wall, you could glitch through the wall. And I wonder if you used to be able to do that with slipstreams as well, now that I think about it. We just didn't... No, because you have to pathfind, and pathfinding's not going to send you through the wall. Anyways, so you could do that, and you could do it through longer walls if it was set to 30 frames per second instead of 60. I'm curious if that works. The big problem with 30 frames per second is it messes with the timing of zoom in and zoom outs, especially the auto zooms. And that really throws off the timings for dockings and stuff. And also, it just doesn't feel good to play in 30. Come on. Alright, that should be enough. Whoop. Hee hee hee. I really didn't save all that much time on this one. We just get this key. No, but then we'd have to go out of our way to get this key. Didn't think about leaving anything behind in the pod, but there's also not a whole lot here. And I feel fine about replacing a few quiet guns. Okay, you've not got glitch dash or anything. Well, we can get a long blade. And that would be more relevant if I didn't have a slipstream, but still neat. Yeah, we can run over here. Get the pod moving. And then give you a shot. Visitor. Visitor's useful for ship 3. And I'll take you out so I don't have to worry about you. Do I worry about that crate? Do I worry about this crate? We've got a subverter if the target is... we don't... We have the potential of running into problems if there's a lot of heat sensors and shields. But we can deal with the target themselves if they're shielded. We got a visitor to skip by some things. Oh, it's a little difficult. It's not that far out of the way. I should go for it. Pod going back a little too fast. All right, and there's some reassurance. Pretty sure I left a gun behind. No, I'm bonked. All right, out we go. Missed myself slightly. And off we go. For real. 10 seconds. Oh yeah, continue my thought from the beginning of that. So I wonder if we can phase through the left by going to the left and up through the doors if we're at 30 frames per second. Feels fairly likely. Does that mean I will abuse it and change to 30 seconds to go there? Probably not, because it's an absolute pain. Shotgun, heat sensor, explosive, target fleas, lots of guards. Like, just as an example, you can see how fast it zooms in and out here. I'm pretty sure it changes it for this. Is it technical? Look at how much slower that is and how jagged it is. And imagine trying to adjust to that change in speed while it's auto zooming while you're trying to dock with the ship, and it's terrible and it's a mess. So I guess the auto zoom is one thing that's not affected by the frame rate. As far as, like, it's possible that auto zoom changes at a set zoom level per frame, and it doesn't compensate for faster or slower. I did not pay attention at all to what our target was, so I want to look in and see if we can justify using the subverter. Okay, heat sensors everywhere, but no shields. All right, so we're perfectly fine. And this is a... I was gonna say this is a solid one to subvert into, but it's all right. This is 1, 2, 3 rooms to get into here, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a little bit of help. And I won't test the 30 frames per second here just because I don't want to. The temptation to subvert the center gun is there, but eventually it'll turn. No, I gotta take them all out anyways. It just doesn't matter. All right, so running through here, we can ignore that key, go through here, ignore them, ignore that. We can just ignore almost. We can ignore like half of the people here. I guess we could ignore this anyways if we just went around here. Or probably just get to here and then visited. A lot of ignoring here. Alright, slipstream, run up. No reason to not use the shield. Long plate's not really relevant. Oh, can I do this first try? Nope. You do have to be kind of like on the sides of the door. Nope. So the pathfinding for going through closed doors is weird. They set the pathfind to like right here or right here if you're on the other side. So if you're like in the middle, then you're walking at an extreme angle and you can't quite get through. But if you're pathfinding from a distance from around here, then that'll get you right where you need to go. Then yeah, I can also just... Yeah, might as well just ignore them. Might as well use this visitor anyways, and I should have had the pod moving. Oops. Okay, anything here? I don't want to use any guns because that'll alert the pilot. So we say hello. We say goodbye. We pick up your visitor. Neat. And smack everyone because they're going to set off the alarm if I don't do anything. Because the visitor's keeping this thing loaded. Sure, I'll loot a swapper. Why not? And then I'll run... I was going to run this way, but with the long range... and my pod over here, that actually might be a little easier for pickup. Actually, I can do the swap first, and then I just don't lose any time anyways. And then I can shoot out the window as well. Nice. Doop, doop, doop. Doop, doop, doop. All right. We're out. No alarms can go off. For 9 seconds. Very nice. Very nice. All right. That felt like a strong day. I can't think of anything that really would have sped me up. Well, if I didn't go for the crate. If I didn't go for the crash beam crate, that would have saved some amount of time. But it was reasonable to go for the crate, even if it wasn't needed in the end. But yeah. Aside from that, yeah, that felt very strong. Alright, we submit. And we'll see how it holds up later on. But here's how it currently is. Yesterday, we had me in first place with 27 seconds and a 5.99. 7-2 coming up in second, Razzlebaster in third, Cassandra in fourth, and Inking Block in fifth place, making up the top 5. Nice job, everybody. And next, I want to test. Ooh, you've got a slipstream. Multiple. You must be the one I was testing on before. All right, let's go rescue someone, I suppose. I should have checked what kind of ship it is. Actually, no, this is good. We can try and get on this side. All right. So like I can get right up in here. This would probably do it if I was going the other way. And it don't do anything. But what happens? I change it to 30. Okay, still not looking good for it. Interesting. Let's try this side. You know, let's try something else. Let's try removing. This is one thing I was kind of wondering is, can I get even closer if I... Ooh, you can get pretty far in there if you don't have the slipstream because you got a little more control on how many frames you've got before you get in there. All right, so let's try that, and then... No, that's not going to work because when I activate this, and if I do this, pathfind, and then... Yeah, I didn't think that would work after thinking about it. Okay, that's feeling like a pretty definitive no. Let's see, this doesn't have any protection. Nah, I'm just gonna swap with you. Oh god, that's so chunky and 30 frames per second. Yeah, 30 frames per second is not good. Ooh, you know what I can do? I can get you to shoot this fuel barrel so that I don't have to deal with any of you. Alright, so in 30 frames per second, we just gotta test. Yeah, makes sense. Now, can we get back over to the left? Nope. But can we get to the right again? Quite easy. Then try to get back to the left again. Nope. All right. I thought for sure that 30 frames per second would be enough. And does it? How much does one frame send me? All right, so from here to this, it takes one. Oh, geez, you guys are... That felt like it was going... I gotta deal with... There's too many people here. All right, let's get up through here. Yeah, throw the sword just in case that matters. None of those hit. All right. Just wait a little bit. There we go. Okay. So go over here. Slipstream. And then... All right. I was going to measure how many steps it takes to get to you. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then to get back... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With 60. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So yeah, I was right. You go twice as fast. Which means with the already absurdly quick speed that you get with this, if you go into 30 frames per second, you are moving at double that speed. There's probably a way to force it to go down to lower frame rates, which would be really funny to try, but I'm not going to do that right now. Yeah. So that's like a valid strategy for going super fast. Hold on. Can they... I should play with that. Does the door only have protection like one direction? Maybe that's what it is for some reason. All right, so slipstreams. All right, so how much ground do we cover? We're right here and we're moving to the left. We click the wrong thing. All right, so standing right here. Takes us a little under 1 square. A little under 1 meter. Then going back to 30. Which it should just be double that. Alright, so we're slightly to the right. Yeah, so that's double. But that's more than a room. More than a room. That's more than a meter. That is more than the width of a door. We go right here. If it was just like we're moving fast enough that we can go through the door. Okay, so that did work, even though we weren't super close to it. But it should work going the way back. Like, we move. Come on, come on. All right, so we move. So we're like right on the line of this. 1, 2. Yeah, so that should be enough movement to get us to right here. So yeah, there's some sort of protection on these doors that prevents you from getting through, but it only applies if you're going to the left or up for some reason. If I had to guess, it has something to do with the way bash dashing through walls was fixed. Either that or just something about these doors were programmed one-sided in certain directions. I guess we could test that by booting up a really old version of Heat Signature from before that was fixed and see if it works there. But that's not something I'm going to do today. But yeah, let's get rid of that. And get out of here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It is harder to do frame perfect inputs on 60 frames per second. Yeah, I could have just swapped with someone. Yep. Yeah, boop. All right. Who cares about the rescue target? We did the experimenting that we require. I guess I should do it for more liberations for the system, but oh well. All right. Well, that was today's daily challenge and some experimentation. I am actually surprised that we could not get through the doors on 30 frames per second. Well, yeah. We learn. We learn. And on one end, that is a relief that you can't, because there's no temptation for changing to the 30 frames per second. But then there's now the temptation to change to the 30 frames per second to move at ultra double speed with the slipstream stutter step things. But I think I'm still not going to do that because I'm already rarely going to be doing that in the first place. And doing it now it's just a pain. But yeah, that is all for today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow.